Hi everyone, my name is Cody. I'm a software engineer here in San Francisco. And in this video, we're just going to do a high-level overview of LlamaBot and what LlamaBot is and how you can build kind of cool, fun little side projects with it. So LlamaBot is an AI coding agent powered by LangGraph that you can run and access on a browser to basically build fun software projects directly in the browser without needing to be a software developer. The entire thing is open source, meaning you can run it locally on your computer, and if you build something that you really like, you can even deploy it and host it on a server that you control. This means whatever you build with LlamaBot is completely yours to own. Other tools and platforms that can build projects without needing to be a programmer usually will lock you into their company as the hosting provider, and they make it really hard to switch and leave the project. But the power of open source is that all of the code that created your project and runs your project can live on your computer. One thing that we believe is that coding and software development is going to increasingly become a process that everybody can get involved with. You don't have to be a programmer from a traditional background. You don't have to have a computer science degree or be a software engineer. One thing that AI and large language models are enabling is a new class of software that can be developed by essentially anybody. And part of the LlamaBot project is trying to accelerate this and make it cheaper, easier, affordable, and leave the user who's building the project completely in control. The other thing about LlamaBot is I'm trying to make this be a project that can be very educational about how these more advanced AI coding systems work. So really, this is definitely a process of me documenting what I've learned and what I'm continually learning about these cool new tools. I'll leave a link to our GitHub in the description of this video. We also have a Discord channel that we're starting to grow. If you're interested in coming and being a part of this community, and whether you're a traditional developer or somebody that doesn't understand anything about code, I highly encourage you to join the community and ask questions or anything you want related to AI or building agents. And I'm very active on this community. There's other really great builders in this community, and we can answer your questions and we can help you. We can also answer any questions related to LlamaBot or LlamaPress, which is another tool we have to easily host LlamaBot instances if you want just a little bit of an easier setup. That being said, what I want to do in this video is I want to just show a little bit of the power of LlamaBot and how far you can get building something. In some of the other videos I've recorded, we've created some kind of fun games and different things, and you can see in our README, the first example we lead with is having LlamaBot create a game of Snake, like the little 2D arcade game that used to be on everyone's cell phones growing up. We do a quick little demo of how easy it is to develop that, and I want to take this concept and start pushing it just a little bit farther and see how far we can get with something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through the entire setup process, and you can follow alongside with me. If you want to figure out how to run this locally, then this will kind of be a guide for that as well. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to go to our GitHub page and then sign in with your GitHub account, and you can fork this repo by clicking on fork, or you can even just clone it directly without having to fork it. You can either fork it and then come to your own version of this and then click on this code button. And then here you have this HTTPS URL. Go ahead and copy this URL to your clipboard. Then you'll want to open up a terminal window. Now I'm doing this on a Mac, and so this will be most relevant for people that are either running Linux or running a Mac because the commands will be the same. If you want a tutorial on how to do this on Windows, let me know and I can record one. Although it should be pretty similar to the steps that we're going through here. So in the repo, I clicked on code, I clicked on copy URL to keyboard, and then in here, I'm going to go ahead and type in git clone and paste in the URL. And there we go. The project is now on our file system. So I'm going to cd into LlamaBot. Let's list the content directories. Now we do have a README that you can either read directly in the terminal or you can read it down here. And in the README, we do have a quick start guide. So if you're on a Mac, you're going to copy out, or whether you're on a Mac or not, you're going to copy out this Python command. Let's see, where did that go? Quick start, here we go. And this is going to create a virtual environment on your computer so that if you run Python for other projects, it doesn't, the packages that we're installing don't mess anything up for any other projects that you're doing. You're going to run python-m venv. In my case, it's actually Python 3 for my specific computer. Yours might be Python or it might be Python 3. Okay. Now, if you're on a Windows, you're going to copy this command out and paste it. But if you're on a Mac or Linux, you're going to copy out this source command. So that's what I'm going to do here. Let's copy that out. Okay. Now we need to install our dependencies. So come over here, copy this out, go back to your terminal, and paste this in. This downloads all of the Python packages that you're going to need to run this project. Okay. And then the next thing that we're going to need is an OpenAI API key. You can get this by going to platform.openai.com and signing up for an account. And then on the top right, there's this settings cog. And then on the bottom left, there's this project, API keys, and you can create a new secret key. So I'm going to go ahead and type, let's call this demo key. All right. I'm going to go ahead and click create. From there, you should get a little pop-up that has a green copy button. Go ahead and click on that copy button. I'm not going to show mine, obviously. Now from there, what you're going to do, let's go back to our GitHub repo. We need to basically create a new .env file that's going to be specific to your computer that's going to hold this secret key so that you can access OpenAI's API. Now what you're going to do is go ahead and copy out this command, and this will actually create the .env file for you. Let's go ahead and paste it. And now, if we open this up with Visual Studio Code, you can type code space dot. That's a shortcut to open it if you're on a Mac. You can also just open Visual Studio Code and then navigate to this folder on your computer. In my case, I'm actually using a fork of Visual Studio Code called Cursor, which is an AI coding development environment, very similar to VS Code. Except there's a little AI assistant on the in the editor that makes it really convenient. So in my case, I'm going to open up this project by typing in cursor space dot. Okay, that should open up Cursor here. And then in here, now we should see that we have a .env file. Let's make this small. Let's move this right here. Okay, we have this .env file with our OpenAI API key. Go ahead and delete out this kind of placeholder and paste in the API key that should be copied on your clipboard. Go ahead and paste that in, hit save, and you should be good to go. Okay, the next step is to go back to your terminal here, and now to run the project, all we need to do is just copy out this command, unicorn app reload, okay, and paste this command in, and LlamaBot should boot up. Okay, perfect. Now the next thing is we're going to open up our browser here. We're going to make a new tab. We're going to go to localhost:8000. Sweet, and we're live. And so this is the homepage of LlamaBot. But in order to, this just kind of houses some of the examples. So for example, this was the 3D snake game we were making on one of the previous videos, where you can come in and control a snake to basically capture these little mice and eat them. Now, this is something that was built entirely using the LlamaBot chatbot, and it's kind of cool though because large language models have gotten so good that you can actually build kind of cool things. This didn't take that long either. This took maybe 10 minutes of prompting and tweaking and going back and forth with the chatbot. And so what I want to do in this video is take this just a little bit of a step farther. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this tab. And now what we can do is at the end of localhost:8000, you can just append this slash and then chat. And this takes you into the LlamaBot chat where you can actually talk directly to the coding agent and make sure that it's working. So I'm just going to say, hi LlamaBot, can you hear me? Now the agent is thinking, and here we go, we got our response. Hello, I can hear you loud and clear. How can I help you with your 3D Hello World page today? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, please recreate this page from scratch and turn it into a game where I can control a llama emoji on a 2D canvas and pick up food, and it will grow my llama chain. My llama parade / chain. Similar to the game of arcade snake. Except it's a llama, say it's a trail of llama emojis rather than a snake. Alright, let's see what it comes up with here. So the first step is it will go and it will do this kind of designing and planning step where it's going to think through the game plan of how it's going to build this. So it's going to rewrite the entire page from scratch. It's going to replace all the existing code, essentially. It's going to do llamas and apples. It looks like it made a decision to use apples as its grid cell. And then once the agent is ready, it's going to start streaming this back in real time so you can kind of watch it be created as it's writing the code to your file system. Okay, there we go. Okay, now it's like a little game of Snake, so I'm controlling this with my arrow keys. Okay. Kind of a funny thing. But you can see how you could maybe like really come up with any type of idea that you wanted. I mean, the llama idea is just kind of a fun, I don't know, it's LlamaBot, so it makes sense to play around with that. Okay, cool. This is a little bit of a basic version, but what I want to do now is I want to say, please recreate this from scratch and make a 3D world with a plane on the ground and a 3D llama I can control. Or let's say, and a first person point of view from a llama that I can control and see see his nose, see from the perspective of his eyes so I can see his nose, and make it so I can move him around with arrow keys. So I mean, this is like an actual, you know, more sophisticated kind of game than just a little 2D scroller game. So let's see what it can come up with. Okay, here's what it came up with. This is pretty basic. The nose is kind of funny here. Now, one thing we could do to make this a little bit cooler is there's actually a specific file type called a GLB file, which is a 3D object. And so a GLB object are basically these 3D models, and these 3D models are very, you know, it's actually able to be supported on the browser by loading it in through JavaScript. So I went to this website, sketchfab.com, and they do have these free downloadable ones that we can look at. Let's go ahead and see if we can search for a llama. Let's see if anything comes up. Nothing comes up. Let's go on Google and search llama GLBs. Some of them you have to pay for. I don't want to pay money for that. Let's look up GLB files. Okay, GLB files free. Alright, let's go back to Sketchfab. Let's search up animal. Let's set our license to free standard. Okay, we have a dog, we have a cow. What else do we have here? We have a sloth. We have a shark. Let's do the pig. Let's do this pig here. So this pig, we can go ahead and download this. And we want to download this GLB format. Okay. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our downloads folder here. I'm going to drag this .glb file into this assets folder that's in LlamaBot. So let's grab this. Let's drag it in and drop it on assets here. Okay. Okay, awesome. Now the thing we're going to do is we're going to right click on this low poly origami pig. We're going to click copy relative path. And this should come up with a path that's like assets/low poly. Yep, perfect. So you should get the path that's like assets/ and then the file name. So I'm going to say, please change this to be a third-person view from behind the llama, and use this GLB file path to create the character that we're controlling with the arrow keys. And I'm going to go ahead and paste in the path. Okay, let's go ahead and send this in and see how it does. Okay, and there we have our pig loading in. You can see we can kind of move it around. It's funny though because the pig is kind of backwards. So we're gonna actually ask it, please please rotate the pig GLB object 180 degrees, and also allow us to move the camera around by clicking, dragging, and zooming in and out with the scroll keys. Okay, let's go ahead and see what that does. Okay, so that just returned now. Okay, and now I'm using my left and right arrow key. I can move them around. Okay, there we go. Okay, kind of fun. Okay, let's go ahead and just make a couple of quick changes. Let's say please change this so that the plane on the ground is has squares into it, so we can visualize depth. Let's say has, and also make the background a darker green rather than the light green. A slightly darker green. Also add clouds in the background. Okay, let's go ahead and kick that off. While that's running in the background, I actually want to go back to our GLB sketch fab right here. Let's go ahead and look at some other assets that we can pull in. Let's go ahead and look at like trees, for example. Okay, we got some trees here. We got a pine tree, a maple tree. Let's look at this maple tree. Okay, not bad. Looks nice. Let's download it. Let's pull it in. So download GLB. Do the same thing. Let's jump into our project here. Make sure we have our assets. Let's open up our folder. Got our maple tree. Let's drop the maple tree in here. Let's right click. Let's do copy relative path. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump back into our LlamaBot instance. Okay, I did something pretty weird here. Our pig is now floating in space. Okay, let's say please redo this page so that there is a single plane that the pig can walk on that is a dark green color with a graph structure. It's a horizontal plane, and then the background is a nice light blue with clouds out in the distance. Also add trees, add a handful of different tree GLBs on the plane that we're walking on using this GLB asset, and let's paste in the assets path here. In fact, we have this like extra 1 in there with a space. Let's just get rid of that, and let's make sure that we update it on our project here. So let's come over here, let's rename this file to get rid of any spaces and that extra 1. That'll just make sure that the large language model knows exactly what we're doing, and we don't have to deal with any spacing issues or white space issues that could happen. Cool. And the reason why that happened too is because I downloaded this file, I guess, in the past when I was playing around with it. So normally you wouldn't add that extra space and that extra 1. But yeah, let's see what this does. Okay, it just got back to us. These are massive trees. Look at these. Also, the plane is very, very skinny. Not very long. So let's go ahead and say, please expand, please expand the plane a lot more. It's very skinny and long right now, but not very wide. And also, please make the trees roughly 20% of their current size. I mean, these trees are massive. Okay, let's send that in and see what it does. Alright, there we go. Much better. Cool. Well, we're making some progress. Still didn't do clouds, so let's go ahead and say please add clouds floating off in the background, up above and out in the distance. Please add, we'll say please add some visuals that look like clouds. Okay, let's see what that does. Okay, still having an issue with the clouds. Looks like it didn't bring them in. But either way, I think this is a good kind of sufficient demo, first video. In this video, I kind of went through setting everything up, running it, how you can pull in other assets like GLB files. You could do the same thing with images, audio, that kind of stuff, which I'll continue to build out tutorials on how to do that in future videos. So if this is helpful, please go ahead, leave a like, and hit that subscribe button. Also, go to our GitHub and take a look. Any stars or forks, that helps us as well. And yeah, join our Discord community too. Thanks. See you next video.